Mr. Watrous gathered us all around, gave us a big pep talk, and led us downstairs onto the stage. The curtain was closed, so we had a few minutes to set up before everyone would see us. We all busied ourselves with little things musicians do before they play, testing spit valves, applying last-minute drops of valve oil, checking the lugs on a snare drum, and the height on a cymbal. In short order, we were ready. I was nervous, but glad that the big night was about to get started. I sat down behind the drum kit. I was playing set for the first tune, adjusted the sheet music on its stand, wiped my hands on a grubby little towel I always kept in my stick bag just for that purpose, and took a deep breath. Mr. Watrous tapped his baton on the podium. The curtain opened. When the shiny heads of the entire band became visible in the stage lights, the audience was dead silent. Then, as I began to realize what they were seeing, I could hear a buzz of whispers, then gasps, and a slow building crescendo of applause. Before we even played a note, we got a standing ovation. Mr. Watrous led the applause, risen, then fall a bit, then bam! He counted us right into the first tune, Mambo No. 5 by Louis Prima. I don't really remember playing a single note of the first 5 or 6 songs. I can only recall the nonstop swung of emotion that we were all feeling. The band, Mr. Watrous, the audience, and I, Hope Jeffrey. Every song went better than the one before. Every solo got hotter and hotter, more and more beautiful. The fast numbers were a riot of energy, and the ballads put the entire place into some kind of powerful, floating dream state. I never experienced anything like it, but I knew the entire point of playing music was to hope that once in a while you could bring this feeling to an audience of people. When the curtain closed for intermission, the place went up again. It was great. We all took our time on stage, getting our instruments squared away, slapping fives, rubbing heads, weird sensation, by the way, and basking in the success of the first set. Then Mr. W told us to get back to the band room, get drinks, hit the restrooms, and relax for a little while. I sat on the to my height, I like. I was tired and thirsty, but I couldn't wait to come back down to play a little Latin pieces I've been sweating over all year. Brian tapped me on the shoulder and gestured with his thumb toward the stairs. We walked up. At the top of the steps, just outside the band room, my mom was having what looked like an intense discussion with Mr. Stoll, maybe even a discussion. She turned to me with an alarming, fake, sweet smile she only uses when she's got me totally busted for something, and a syrupy voice that always goes with the smile. She spoke to me. You're playing very well tonight, Stephen. Thanks, Mom. Very well. Thanks again, especially for a kid who hasn't paid for a drum lesson in over a month. Ouch. Then she surprised me. Mr. Stoll, possibly even herself, by grabbing me in a bear hug. You're a wonderful son and a wonderful man. Yet another parent busting forth with the man thing. I'd have to check my chest scent of hair when I get home. Mr. Stoll broke the moment by pounding me on the shoulder. You're rocking the joint, kiddo. I love the big triplet. Go in satin dow, and your 4-limb independence is really coming along. I can't wait to hear the Dizzy Gillespie tune. Then Mr. W called all the band members into the room. So I thanked Mr. Stoll and hurried in. My dad and Jeffrey were there. Mr. Watrous got everyone quiet and then gestured to my dad. Evidently, I couldn't believe this. My father wanted to address the band. He cleared his throat twice, paused for a long, uncomfortable moment, then spoke. I almost didn't come here tonight. I'm a proud man. I guess I didn't like the idea of accepting charity. I looked around and saw that the other kids and Mr. W were looking rather nervous. Even my wife couldn't get me to come. I was already to go to work, bury myself into a pile of paper, and tell myself I was helping my family by earning more money. But at about 5 o'clock, as everybody else in my office was leaving for the weekend to go home to their families, I realized that he faltered for a moment. And again, I saw people just didn't know how to take this speech. I don't know. I guess I realized that my family needs a dad more than I need a few extra bucks. Jeffrey, my sweet little boy, needs me around to support him when he isn't feeling well. My wife over there needs me to be around to support her all the time. And my big talented boy over there, the one who's trying to stare at his shoes until I stop talking, at this, there was some laughter. He deserves to have a father see what an amazing musician he is. He's also an amazing brother and just an amazing guy. I know you all call him the peasant, more laughter, but I think he's a prince. Thank you, Stephen, for watching out for your family, even when your father wasn't. And thank you, all city members, for a great concert, a marvelous show of support, and listening to me ramble. Once more, laughter. My mom walked over, holding Jeffrey's hand, and kissed my dad. It is always a little weird watching your rents kiss, even when it's not in a room full of people who actually know you. But but this was kind of nice. It occurred to me it occurred to me that that was the first time I had seen them kiss in a while. Then I looked down at Jeffrey, who had really miserable look on his face, like he was tasting something vile. Turns out he was. The next moment, he ran over to the trash can and vomited in it. I ran over to him, got my arms around him. Just then, the lights blinked. Annette, Renee were at the door bringing glad tidings of box office and bake sales. Without all the receipts having been counted yet, the running total of the evening was over $21,000. Half the room cheered, while the other half, the half that noticed Jeffrey's run, was just standing around looking edgy once again. I wasn't really worried yet. Jeffrey's meds made him nauseous all the time. The real danger sign would be a fever. So I felt Jeffrey's forehead. It was really hot. I hated to say what I said next. I knew this was going to cause some trouble, but I also knew what the doctors had said about not delaying the treatment at this point. Mom, I think Jeffrey's got a temp. This set off a little wave of alarm. My parents knew somebody had to go rushing out with Jeffrey to the ER. But who? One of them, both of them? And was I supposed to skip out in the biggest moment of my life and go with them? Jeffrey looked at me. Stephen, I feel really bad. And Matt Medic is at home again. Please come with me. I'm scared. You know how sometimes when you have a high pressure decision to make, you feel like everyone is looking at you? Well, in this case, everyone really was looking at me. Annette, Renee, Mr. W, Mom, Dad, Jeffrey, 4 trombone players, for God's sake. Was I supposed to walk out on the music for my brother, or was I supposed to stay and play the concert? I looked at all the faces. I wasn't sure. I wiped my head in every direction, searching for some clue to eyes around me. And I got a clue from a girl who I had only met once. Stay with your brother, Stephen. Stay with him, no matter what. Do you promise? I had promised Samantha that I would be there for Jeffrey. There would be other concerts. Mr. W, I have to. I know. Go. My my eyes started to well up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was supposed to be your big star. Stephen, you have never been more of a star to me than you are at this moment. Go. Take care of your brother. We'll be fine here. Mom was on her way out the door. Dad was right behind her, carrying Jeffrey. I started after them, but Renee and Annette were right there in front of me. Renee hugged me and wished me luck. Then Annette put her casted hand on my shoulder. I wasn't sure what to say. Some team we make, huh, Annette? You can't play at a concert. I could have played, but I have to run out. then, then she put her good hand on my shoulder and gave me something to wonder about. She said, I think we make a great team. And she kissed me on the cheek. As I ran out of the room to chase after the distant backs of my parents, my mind was reeling. Annette had kissed me. Who'd have thunk it?